passion for making things actually lead to financial independence without a college degree? Because these days we are seeing many kids not opting to complete their degrees.
Yeah, I did some research for my second book, and what I found out is that the percentage of young people going to college, finishing their degree in 4 to 6 years, and using that degree in their profession, in their career, is somewhere between 7 and 15%. And so when you look at that, it really is eye-opening that the path that everyone thinks is the only path is actually now becoming the minority by far.
So let's talk about the ROE, which stands for return on education, right? It is again a hot topic, especially in Indian perspective. Parents invest a lot with regard to college education for the graduation, undergrad, whereas in the US it is a little different. But there is a lot of investment that happens, and should we really care about that return on education? How do you define this return on education for the average parent or a student today? So, Terry, what is your one piece of advice to those aspiring to begin their careers?
The thing that I always tell young people, and it's pretty much always the same because it's universal, is arrive early and leave late, and just be honest.
So, folks, you have tuned into TGV, and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, the world's only quadrilingual podcast at this moment of recording. And we are trying to embark into multiple languages as we speak. And here we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. And we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. I'm your host, Navin Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in. So, folks, welcome back to the Guiding Voice podcast series, yet another episode. And today we are joined by Terry Iverson, who is a manufacturing leader, author, and keynote speaker with 45 plus years of experience, inspiring the next generation of makers. And as a founder of Champion Now and author of Finding America's Greatest Champion and Inspiring Champions in Advanced Manufacturing, he is on a mission to reshape America's perception of skilled trades and mentoring. He has also founded a 501c3 titled Champion Now and change how American manufacturing is perceived in our nation. And the now is the call to action. So his CHAMP offers inspiration from high school mentors to middle school students about the manufacturing path. Interesting, isn't it? So, before we get into the conversation, let's welcome Terry. So, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series. And how are you doing, Terry?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I'm honored.
Most pleasure to have you. So, Terry, first things first, why should somebody tune into our conversation and spend their valuable time with us today?
Well, I think what I try to elevate is the expertise and the excitement and challenges of American manufacturing in our country.
Great. And apart from that, we will also talk a little bit or probably more about reverse mentoring as well. So, folks, today we are going to dive into American manufacturing, reverse mentoring, and most importantly, when the young teach the experienced. So, that is the core of our conversation today. But before we get started, here is an exciting twist as always. So, what is the twist? Like many young people are uncomfortable with the concept of mentoring, and it comes across many times as a back to the classroom lecture instead of an interactive exchange. And probably this is a cultural or generational stigma. But before we get into the further details about the topic at hand, let us tickle our guest's brain first. So, Terry, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. And I'm going to mention a few words randomly. And I would request you to respond to them crisply and without thinking much. And if you're ready, let's get started.
Okay.
So my first word is curiosity,
Essential.
invention,
Brilliance.
future,
Youth.
universe,
Bizarre.
leadership,
Internal.
success,
Defined differently.
mentor,
Everyone.
mentee,
Open.
role model.
Obligation.
And the last word is aliens.
Possible.
So crisp. I loved all your responses and thank you so much for participating in rapid fire round number one. There is one more rapid fire round towards the end of the episode, so stay tuned. And Terry, welcome once again. Thank you so much for being part of our journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. And let's get into the mainstream. So, talk to us about who is your guiding voice.
My guiding voice is, I think, probably from a lot of my family members being mentors. Um, Occasionally, my wife will be my guiding voice and my
Mhm.
balance. But I think internally, you have to have a guiding voice that you've developed from your mentors and in many cases, your family. But I think it's a matter of doing what's right and doing the right thing. And my mom, when I grew up, would say to me, if you're doing something that you can't tell me about, you probably shouldn't be doing it. And so I think there's no, I'm a faith-based person, so I believe in my faith, and so that's part of it as well. But I think it's a combination of many facets of your life.
Hmm. Excellent. And Terry, talk to us about your success mantra, as in top three things that have contributed to your success so far.
The top three things that have made me or helped me be successful is I learned in high school. I went to a really great high school that basically let me be myself and be true to myself. I think another guiding principle is honesty, and I think the third and maybe last guiding principle is integrity.
Hmm.
And I think if you can be true to yourself and honest and full of integrity, you'll be successful no matter what.
Right. Got it. And Terry, let's get into the mainstream and the topic today. So many young
Okay.
people, right, shy away from mentorship. Like they think, no, we don't need any mentors. We know it all. So why do you think that is, and how can we flip this narrative?
Well, I think I've been open to mentorship my entire life. I grew up son or a child of a single mom. And so I almost needed it desperately because I was all over the place and had quite a temper when I was young. And so I needed to be focused. And I kind of have ADHD tendencies. So I really need to be, put back on track on occasion. And the conventional educational model was very difficult for me.
Hmm.
But I think that the thing that you might be alluding to is that if young people realize that they have as much to offer in a different way than maybe the baby boomer or next generation thereof, because of technology and growing up on technology,
Hmm. Hmm.
some of us are have to be open to technology our entire lives, but we weren't brought up on it. So that's a reverse mentoring concept that I would suggest that people consider, both the mentor and the mentee.
Mm. Let's double click on this reverse mentoring. So, how can the youth mentor their elders effectively? And today we are in a tech driven world.
I think a lot of mentors that are my age, they want to give back, and
Mhm.
sometimes young people aren't open to it. But as soon as they realize that they have a lot to offer as well, then it becomes more of a balanced. It's hard to be balanced when there's 20, 30 years difference between two people, right? And so I think that if a young person realizes that to look for the opportunity that to mentor the mentor, then it becomes a value proposition for both sides. And some young people don't want to be preached to, or maybe take it, or observe it, or take it as talking down to, even though it's not. And so I think it levels the playing field, or levels the relationship, and I think it's healthy. And I think most mentors would agree that they have something to learn from reverse mentoring.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. And I have seen a couple of organizations, especially where there are baby boomers and these millennials and especially Gen Z folks, right? Teaching them about the latest technologies and gadgets part. And that is how it is getting started. And I think that is beneficial to the organization at large as well. And my next question is like, what is one mistake you see parents make, okay, when guiding their kids toward college versus skilled trades?
Well, I think there's a very naive notion of what advanced manufacturing in the
Hmm.
world, and in the U.S. in particular. Um, and I think that if people realized or did their research of what today's manufacturing is, they would be less prone to just push one narrative in terms of educational path. So I think that being open to what the changes that are going on in the marketplace, and also in the workforce, and in the educational path in the U.S., education is exorbitantly expensive, and some families just can't afford it. And I've had parents approach me thinking that they failed their child because they can't dish out, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars for education. And my message to them is, no, you haven't failed your child. You just need to be open to maybe a different path that's there for the taking, that they can still find success.
Yeah, got it. Got it. And can a passion for making things actually lead to financial independence without a college degree? Because these days we are seeing many kids not opting to complete their degrees, right?
Yeah, I did some research for my second book, and what I found out is that the percentage of young people going to college, finishing their degree in 4 to 6 years, and using that degree in their profession, in their career, is somewhere between 7 and 15%. And so when you look at that, it really is eye opening that the path that everyone thinks is the only path is actually now becoming the minority by far.
Hmm.
So General Motors recently, probably in the last 12 months, maybe in the last 6 months, decided not to require a 4-year degree for employment for every single position. That
Hmm.
some skilled positions, that they wouldn't require a 4-year degree. So that kind of speaks volume in terms of one of the largest manufacturers in the world actually realizes that they don't need a
Yeah.
4-year degree for certain positions.
Hmm.
So that I think that speaks volumes to the changes that are going on in the workforce.
Yeah.
And so it's not that you don't need education, you need relevant education that leads to a lucrative and challenging and exciting career.
Yeah.
But there's so few people that realize that manufacturing is something that is exciting. In this country, we have over 500,000 jobs that can't be filled, and in the next 5 years, probably 4 million jobs, from what I'm told, that will be available to be filled.
Right. And in fact, I've also seen this trend, especially in the IT industry, like some of the startups who are developing some products and all, they're more tending towards hiring somebody with hands-on expertise rather than a college degree. And I've seen someone with just 12th standard getting jobs, getting placed. And in fact, I've interviewed one of the guests. His name is Siddharth Pillai. He's the Asia's youngest data scientist, and he actually joined a college. But before the college started, he got a job and he immediately started working. So likewise, I see numerous examples, and I think that's a good trend in a way. and definitely benefits people that are skilled. And let's
Mhm.
continue the conversation. So let's talk about the ROE, which stands for Return on Education, right? It is again a hot topic, especially in Indian perspective. Parents invest a lot with regard to college education for the graduation, undergrad, whereas in the US it is a little different. But there is a lot of investment that happens, and should we really care about that return on education? How do you define this return on education for the average parent or a student today?
Well, I think there's a couple different facets to this. One is what is the cost, the total cost of the education path,
Hmm. Hmm.
and what's the and this is really important. What's the match to the young person in terms of either their aptitude or interest or passion? And then third, what's the expected pay for the profession, for the career on an annual basis once you get out? And what is the actual job or applicant, you know, interest? How many people are you competing against? And so it's all amount of, and it varies from young person to young person. But what is the relevance and what is the relative value of the
Hmm.
educational path and the educational cost for what the outcome is? And so it's not a matter of you don't need education. And I don't want anyone to think that I would ever say that. We all need education of some sort to be successful in our careers. But
Hmm.
what's relevant to you, what's relevant to what your priorities are when you get out into the adult, world, both in what you want to make and what kind of lifestyle you want. And so it's all every young person has a different definition of that, and it doesn't match their passion, their talents, and their aptitude.
Right. Yeah, that is clear. And how do these app internships, I think, which is a combination of apprenticeship and internship, transform young careers differently than the traditional schooling?
Well, I made up a word called apprenternships, and it's even hard to say. And the term when I was writing my first book was to imply that maybe the apprenticeship is a great model, but it might be enhanced around the world and in the US in particular for sure if there was an internship that led into an apprenticeship. And so internships are great for everybody. It's a win-win for everybody. And the reason I say that is young people think they know what they want, but many of us don't, or many even those of us that are older sometimes don't realize. And so if they can go into an internship, they're trying out the career that they think they want. Um, and then obviously the employer is trying out, a young person or a new potential employee that they think they're interested in. And if it doesn't work out, that's fine. It's not too late to pivot. I mean, that's a really key word and will be a real key word for everybody going forward. So I think that if we can look at, the apprenticeship model is a rock solid model. It's getting redefined in the US because we went away from apprenticeships for a long time. In Europe, and I don't know about in Asia, but in Europe, I know the apprenticeship model has sustained for quite some time. And a lot of this is tied to our culture. And I think
Hmm.
what's interesting is the difference in culture in Europe, the United States, and Asia. They're different cultures. So some things that I say may apply to our culture, but may not apply to Europe or Asian culture.
Right. Yeah. Got it. And have you ever felt like you failed a child by not funding college? And in case, what advice do you give parents in similar situations?
Do I feel like I failed by not finishing college? Is that what you said?
You have failed a child by not funding the college. Someone, okay, maybe you haven't funded, or has it happened like that?
Well, my college path, I went to college for 5 different colleges for 6 years. And
Mm.
because of my ADHD tendencies, I didn't learn the way they were teaching, and there was so much theory, there was not enough application. And I just got tired of theory myself. But I think, if there's 3 children that are in a family, each definition it should be okay, and it should be acceptable to have different definitions of what's right for each child. And same thing, if you're I mean, I actually went home when I quit college. I went home and talked to my wife and said, "Are you okay with me quitting?" And she said, "Well, why are you asking me?" I'm like, "Well, we have a family. I'm working a job full time and going to school part time at night. You don't see me a lot, and that's not really fair." So she said, "Yeah." So that was the night I quit. So I think it's always important to, whether it be you um, funding the child's education or path. I think it's important to be relevant to each individual, not have a standard generic path or recipe for success or education.
Mhm. So, Terry, this has been an incredible conversation so far, and it's time for us to add some more excitement and some more spice to the episode, which means it brings us to the rapid fire round number 2. If you're ready, let's continue.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So, here comes the first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
It would say hope.
Oh, all right. And can you describe yourself in just one word?
Honest.
And what is one habit every young maker should adapt immediately?
Curiosity.
And the most underrated career path today?
Wow, manufacturing is the most underrated career path.
And one thing teens could do today to guarantee relevance in the workforce tomorrow.
Work ethic.
Mhm. And then the hardest decision you had to make as a mentor.
To be critical and honest and open.
Mhm. And a book or resource every young professional should read.
Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Successful People was one of the
Mhm, mhm.
premier books that helped me.
Right. Yeah. It is, yeah, one of the best reads, I think. It has a lot of great insights. And
Mhm.
moving to the next one overlooked skill in the digital age that could make a huge difference.
Ooh, this is a hard one. Overlooked skill.
Yeah.
Um, I would say right now, AI, because it's so new. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's something we have to pay attention to. It's evolving, ever evolving.
Okay. And a piece of advice you would give to yourself at age 20.
At age 20, just be true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Great. And then one thing you always ask your mentees that make them rethink their future.
What are you missing?
Wow. That
What are
is.
you missing?
Mhm.
I tell all mentees that continually ask yourself, "What am I missing?"
Mhm, mhm.
And you'll find yourself
Yeah,
learning and being so much more successful.
right. And what is there any fantasy gadget or an electronic gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself?
Ooh, that one caught me by surprise. Something to expose, or not expose, inform and inspire a person what their innate needs and talents are.
Mm. I love it. And yeah, thank you so much for participating in Rapid Fire round number 2 as well. And let's flip back to the mainstream. So, Terry, what is your one piece of advice to those aspiring to make big in their careers?
The thing that I always tell young people, and it's pretty much always the same because it's universal,
Mm-hmm.
is arrive early and leave late, and just be honest. And that could apply to manufacturing, that could apply to any career. If you show up a little early, if you're willing to stay a little bit late and you're honest with everybody, you're going to be successful no matter what you do.
Right. Yeah. Wonderful. I think that is one key skill which is missing in terms of people are taking time for granted. And you have given a powerful reminder: start early and stay late, especially in the early career stage. I think that will go a long way. And Terry, I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. And thank you so much for the most insightful conversation. And it was such a pleasure hosting you. And how is your experience being hosted on the Guiding Voice podcast?
It's been an honor and it's been extremely invigorating, and I'm very privileged to participate, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, most welcome and looking forward to having many more conversations in future. And I wish you all the very best in everything that you do and keep inspiring the younger generation. I think they need a lot of mentors like you.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be with you today.
Yeah, most welcome. All right. So, friends, that was our episode with Terry Iverson. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, here's a quick request. In case if you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, request you to share with at least three of your friends or colleagues or family members, whoever you think would also like the guiding voice. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. Now, having had amazing conversation about careers in manufacturing, what is missing in the youth, and whether we have to really go for a formal college degree or whether just skills are enough, and many more aspects, I thought of presenting you few lesser known facts about skilled trades. The first one is only 1 in 5 American teens currently consider skilled trades as a lucrative career option. And reverse mentoring, right, is a growing practice in Fortune 500 companies, which is bridging the tech and generational gaps, wherein younger generation is mentoring the older generation or the seniors on the technology. And third one is about the apprenticeship programs, right? These programs can sometimes pay as well as or more than entry level college jobs without any debt. And the last fact is that women now comprise 30% of advanced manufacturing positions in the US, and which is a significant shift in just 10 years. So, likewise, if you are aware of any other trivia facts related to manufacturing careers or reverse mentoring, do let me know. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, you can comment there. Or if you found it on social media platforms, you can comment there as well. So, folks, that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome TGV family. So, until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care. Love you all. Bye bye.